Hello everyone and welcome to the Gunpla Network. I'm the Spicer and today we'll be taking a look at the SD Sengoku Sengetsuren Shangxiang Strike Rouge from the SD Sengoku Sengetsuren series. This comes to us courtesy of Canadian Gundam, your one-stop shop for all your Plamo needs in North America. When you place your order, be sure to think of us and use our promo code Gunpla Network for 10% off that order. Now onto the kit itself. The box sports a finely detailed artistic rendition of the character, as well as the show logo, the faction insignia, and the name in both English and Japanese. Featuring Shangxiang, the youngest child and only daughter of the Sun family, and her two chakram or chaklar, also known as the Tiger Samurai equipment. These two circular blades can double as a backpack as well. This kit is going to heavily feature the use of that clear blue plastic, mostly for the headpiece, the skirt, and a couple of jewels alongside the weapons. The rest of the kit is going to be made up in mostly white, gold, red, and black, and while the artwork depicts quote-unquote brown hair, we'll see if we actually get that in plastic. The top and the bottom of the box give us similar artwork to the front, and one side provides warnings, the barcode, and a link to the show. Something a little strange about that though. With the other kits in this series, you have artwork backing that link. However, it's just a blank background here, and most likely it's due to the size, but I just found that a little odd that they just didn't shrink it down or find a different image to use, but, no harm, no foul. And something the series just kind of does, and that's kind of weird in my opinion, is it doesn't list the yen price like a lot of other model kits will. And well, it's not a huge deal because these aren't super expensive, it would be nice to know. Now, the other side, of course, brings us back to the kit itself and features that heavily used blue plastic, as well as the Tiger equipment, because that's really pretty much the main gimmick of the kit. Well, little but the V-fin shines through of the base mobile suit, the MBF-02 Strike Rouge, Kigali Ula Atha's signature pink version of the GAT X105 Strike. The choice is a solid one for a character like Shangxiang. Kigali's spirit is similar to Koei's version of this character from the Dynasty Warrior games, much more so than her character from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, with the counterpart being Lady Sun. She's a skilled and athletic fighter, proving that she can do pretty much anything her brothers can at the same level, if not better in most cases. And that kind of sucks for Kigali because, her brother would be literal anime Jesus, but at least Shangxiang has the skills to do better than her counterparts. I do find it a little strange though. This kit's based off the Strike Rouge, yet it doesn't feature anything from the Strike Rouge. It doesn't have the pink color scheme, it doesn't have the wolf insignia like the main unit does. And that just kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know why you'd base it off of that and then just use the regular Strike. That's just a weird thing to me. I don't know, but it just seems like they're trying to use the name to appeal to the female audience without actually giving them anything for it, which is, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of it, honestly. And there's just no traces of pink or pink hues or any kind of pink tone on the box, and I just don't understand why they would name it the Strike Rouge if it's not the Strike Rouge. However, the runners are going to be interesting. We don't actually have an A plate. We're going to start with the B plate, which is done mostly in black for internal parts. We also have the C plate, which is in white for mostly just the external armor. The D plate is in red for the feet and part of the torso. And actually, funny enough, part of the face, as it's got the little chin jewel. We'll also skip the E plate and go right into F for the hairpiece, which is actually done in black instead of brown as it is shown on the box. The G plate is gold for a flashier armor pieces, and lastly the clear blue of H plate for all of the effects and weapons. Now of course we also have a sticker sheet which is entirely foils, which is kind of nice to see, and a manual that has the same artwork as the box and actually has a nice little comic inside as well. So it is a nice thing to have these additions in these manuals, especially for as simple as the kit is. It is nice to see that. Now, this modest pile of runners, with a little effort and care, will turn into an interesting little kit. And while it's not the high new, it is rather striking, don't you think? The clear blue does stand out, especially in those ring blades. It's just so hard not to look at because it's just pointing, literally sticking out and pointing at you. A little panel lining and the stickers do go a long way, especially those foil stickers really shining in whatever light you want to put them in. I did try to do my best to leave half of the kit untouched just so you got an idea of what the out-of-box feel looks like. And it doesn't look bad, but a little love does go a long way, even if it is just a little panel lining here and there. The head does look solid, with one little bit of the hair really just needing a little bit of paint to make it accurate to what we see on the box art, with a little gold clasp in the hair, and a little panel lining on the faceplate is going to add a little extra definition. The torso and legs have some nice panel lining opportunities, and you actually have a couple of stickers on the front skirt and the side skirt. The side skirt's a really big blue one that isn't too hard to line up. Same thing with the red. They fit in very well. They do have a couple of cuts in them, so beware. They might peel up at some point. Just kind of know that. But they're not too terribly hard to stick, so at least for stickers, they're done fairly well. And one thing I'm actually super disappointed in, it carries over from the naming thing, is there's once again no pink to this. This just is missing the Strike Rouge. And I don't know, it just is something that bothers me a little bit. And the hairpiece being black also adds to it, and it makes it really just feel like a gender-bent strike based on Kira instead of the Strike Rouge based on like this cool kick-ass girl. Let's just try to make this a little more accurate to its name. And now we have a suit worth being the Wolf of Orb, donning the signature pink color scheme and getting the hair closer to a brown. Well, technically it's red, it's close, alright? Just give me a break. I did leave the stickers in place so you could see how they can compare to a little bit of paint. Mostly it's going to be gold, but there's a little bit of red and a little bit of blue here and there. And all of the paints I used are actually shown down below, and I'll give you a more zoomed in shot here in a moment. But the most, I won't say trouble, but the most work I put into the paint was actually mixing the fluorescent pink and white to get that shade of pink, which is actually a lot closer to the shade of pink the Strike Rouge is, so I actually feel pretty pleased with that, as that was kind of just a lucky guess, and fingers crossed it worked. It's mostly going to be made out of pink if you have the same paint, and just a couple of drops of white goes a long way. Just mix thoroughly, you're pretty good, and you generally have a ratio there to have an idea. I didn't really measure the pink, so sorry, but a little bit of experimenting, you'll get there. And I don't want to perpetuate the whole like suits for girls are pink, but it just felt wrong to me to have something based off the Strike Rouge and continue to shaft this suit and not pay it any attention and just use the strike. I think it's really a cool color scheme that stands out, especially among Gundams. So I wanted to try to emphasize that here and try to show it actually does look good. And as for the articulation, the head's a little finicky. It's mostly articulated in the back of the head with the little twin tail thingies, and the head does move pretty far back. The hinge is actually pretty impressive, but it doesn't really turn side to side. It likes to pop off, and that's partially due to the design of the head. The arms do rotate and spin all the way around at the shoulder as well as the bicep. However, the biceps pop out a lot more often than the shoulders, and the wrists twist as well. You get a nice side to side at the waist, and the side skirts move pretty nicely, but they also pop off, so be careful. The legs do move a decent bit and have a knee joint surprisingly, but sadly the feet with their ball joint tend to pop off pretty easily as well, so you're gonna have some trouble getting some poses out of this kit, unfortunately. And while this isn't the cleanest paint I've ever done, I do feel like it's a lot closer to the vibe I'd want for a Kigali or just a Strike Rouge stand-in, or someone who's this talented martial artist who kind of doesn't get paid a lot of attention to, or this really good political maneuvering person if we're talking Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And while the paint does help it stand out, the normal version's still nice, and that clear blue doesn't change between the two. It still stands out, and it's still going to be pretty eye-catching on your shelf. Those ring blades, just as a design, are great, but putting them in clear blue, having light hit it, it just looks really, really good. That's one of the strongest points of this kit. Now, I don't have any other Strike Rouges, but the Robot Damashi figure, and well, these two, from like just a weapons perspective, couldn't be any more different. I do kind of get a similar vibe. It's a very rough and tumble type vibe I get out of these, and this really, I'll say aggressive, but aggressive to an extent. And I think they match pretty well, even for being fairly different. And I think this color scheme suits this character a lot better than just the regular Strike version does. That kind of looks boring in my opinion. Once again, it doesn't look bad, but it's going to blend in a lot more to your shelf than this will. And while some of the joints fall out, a little bit of super glue or polish or even joint protector stickers go a pretty long way to fix that. And really, even if you don't paint it, if you just give a little extra care and love to it and panel lining and sticker placement, it's gonna look good. It's gonna stand out. Overall, I would give this 7 Freedoms Crashing Weddings out of 10. And just so you know, it does look pretty good on the Siege shelf, even though it is half of the size of most of the kits and figures I have displayed. It doesn't break up the shelf, it blends in fairly well even if the color scheme is a little bit more apparent than the others. But if you place this on your shelf, it's just a nice addition. It's not going to break things up, it's going to blend and flow pretty well, and it's going to add just a little bit of extra flair to your Cosme Era collection. For the Gunpla Network, I've been the Spicer, and as always, keep on building.